Hey, how you doing this morning, FCF? We are on day 2 of our journey where we're looking at waiting on God or delayed blessings, any way you want to look at it. And we come to a portion of Scripture today. It's kind of amusing. I really strongly urge you to read it on your own. Read all of Genesis 29. I'm only going to read you certain portions, but it's a situation where Jacob has now run from his brother Esau, who is out to murder him. You can read the chapters on what that's about. But he's run to his uncle based on his mother's supervision, and he's with Uncle Laban now. And Uncle Laban has some daughters, and please don't get your mind too tangled up. Hey, that's incestuous. It was the Old Testament. A lot of things are going on then that don't go on now. But Jacob, he has his eye caught by one of Laban's daughters, and her name is Rachel. So let me pick up reading. It's Genesis chapter 29, and I'll start in verse, let's see, where is the number? Verse 14. It says, Jacob had stayed with him for a whole month. Actually, I skipped over something. Then Laban said to him, "You're my own flesh and blood," after Jacob had stayed with him for a whole month. Laban said to him, "Just because you're a relative of mine, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me what your wages should be." Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older was Leah, and the name of the younger, was Rachel. Forgive me for this. Leah had weak eyes, not quite sure what that means, but Rachel was lovely in form and beautiful. Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, "I will work for you for 7 years in return for your daughter Rachel." Laban said, "It's better that I give her to you than to some other man. Stay here with me." So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed, listen to this one, but they seemed like only a few days to him because of his love for her. Now, the rest of the story, you really should read it on your own. It is worth it. It is both humorous and dark. Laban is quite a trickster. Jacob has been a trickster. He's cheated his brother out of his birthright and his blessing, but he's met his match with Laban. So do read what happens. But so the 7 years go by, and now it's marriage night where Jacob, after 7 years of waiting and working, is going to get the gift of Rachel to be his wife. And I'll leave it there and urge you to read it on your own. I will just say this. He still doesn't get Rachel. Something happens. And so if you're interested, read on your own. He ultimately does get her, but he has to wait just a little bit longer yet. So sometimes, once again, we work, we put in our time, we do all the things that are appropriate. We know we're within the boundaries that, God would allow something to happen, but we still have to wait and then wait yet longer. And sometimes things happen that we know are not fair, that cause the waiting to go on longer, that we know we didn't deserve, as in this case with the story of Laban and Jacob. But nevertheless, God's working still in this. And by the way, this is a long process that you can watch in the life of Jacob, where God is taking a very crafty, deceitful man, a man who's out to use everybody and everything, including God. And God is slowly but surely trying to mature this man and trying to refine him and trying to bring him into the very image of Christ, as he does in all of our lives. And God is patient and gentle, but boy, is he thorough. And this is one of Jacob's first big experiences, first big lessons. So I don't know where you're at. You might be waiting on God for something, and you might have had an occurrence that you feel like, well, not only am I waiting, and I'm sure that I've done all the right things, but now something terrible has occurred that's going to make this seem even more impossible, and I might have to wait longer, or I may not even get what I want. Learn to just be still, be patient, trust God, do what you need to do, do the thing right in front of you that you know for sure is God's will, and just be willing to wait a little bit longer. And the blessing, although delayed, it still may come. Thank you.